honor and glory? Where is the izzah that once upon a time the Muslim Ummah had? We are too embarrassed, we are too shy to verbalize the question. Are we not Muslims? Are we not believers in Allah? Are we not the Ummah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Then why? Why is this happening? What I am telling every one of us to do here is to think about what can I do for the Ummah. You are right, and I fully agree with you that there must be other people, people of power and people of influence who are thinking in a more global context. I totally agree with you. But the problem is many of us, including myself, who are limited in what we can and cannot do politically, economically for the Ummah, we start getting diverse and digressed and thinking, for example, how can I solve the problem of Palestine? I probably can't solve the problem of Palestine. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to ask me, why didn't you do this? It's not in my power. But what is in my power to do what I can do. So my point in the talk was, every one of you sitting here today, every one of you, I want you to think, what can I do to better the Ummah? What is my role in the Ummah? What are those means that I have? Not what my neighbor has, not what America or England or Russia has. What do I have to better the Ummah? Okay, and when everybody does this, then the intellectual will think on a different level. The farmer will think on a different level. The scientist will think on a different level. And put together, the Ummah, inshaAllah ta'ala, will think on a Ummah level. But my main message here, and I don't disagree with your saying, my main message is many of us get lost with, what can the Ummah do? And they forget, what can I do? And that was the point I was trying to stress. Okay? Jazakallah khair.
Is there a sister with a question?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Soha. I'm studying in a school. As we all know, that many of our brothers and sisters are prisoners of the prisons like Abu Ghraib jail and all. Can we do anything to relieve them? If your answer is yes, may I know what can we do?
Okay, the question is, there are prisoners in places all over the world. She mentioned Abu Ghraib, but the reality is that's only one prison. And there are dozens, if not hundreds of prisons where our Muslim brothers and sisters are being held. And she said, what can we do? We can always do something. We can always do something. The minimum we can do is to raise our hands up to Allah and make dua to Allah to ease their situation and suffering and to make life easy for them. Some of you ask, what is the point of this? The response is, are you trivializing the power of dua? Do you not realize that everything is in the hands of Allah? So the minimum that we can do is to raise our hands and make dua to Allah. That's the bare minimum. And I ask myself and all of you, how many of us have even done that? When was the last time I raised my hand and you raised your hands and say, oh Allah, make the suffering of the Muslims easier. Relieve them of the stress. Oh Allah, the prisoners who are in jail unjustly, those who are being tortured unjustly, oh Allah, make their lives easy and release them from their state. When is the last time we did that? Even this little bit. Another thing we can do is to spread their situation and advertise and publicize it. And let me tell you, in America, the majority of Americans, really and truly, are totally ignorant of the reality of the situation in Palestine, the reality of the situation in Iraq, the reality of the tactics being used in Abu Ghraib and Guantanamo. Believe you me, the average American does not know, because the media that is presented to him, Fox News that he watches, these things are not presented on Fox News, okay? Al Jazeera and other good channels, BBC and others, they're not really broadcast in America. So you have to understand, it is our job and role to advertise and publicize. That's another thing we can do. And we can and we should fight with the tongue and the pen. But we cannot fight with the sword. This is not the time and place. We fight with the tongue and the pen. We speak out against injustice and we write in the newspapers, we publicize. Really and truly, I firmly believe, as an American who knows America, I firmly believe that if Americans as a whole knew the reality of the situation in Palestine and in Iraq and in Guantanamo and Abu Ghraib, the situation would change. They would not allow this to happen. It is a democracy in the end of the day. And when all of the people stand up and reject and object, the government has to do something. If for the sake of just staying in power. Today in Australia, what happened? Governments changed. Why did that government change? The economy was on an all-time high. It wasn't an issue of economy. The people did not like the policies, the foreign policies, the way that their prime minister viewed the war on Iraq and the war on terror. They didn't like that. The Australian people, Christians and Jews and Muslims, all of them, they didn't like this, so they voted him out of office. It is our job to publicize this. It is our job to increase the awareness of the situation. That is one thing we can do. And so, along with dua, along with publicizing, this is the main thing that we can do. The jihad of the pen and the jihad of the tongue. This is what we must do in this time and age.